The lawyer's voice echoed through the phone like a distant dream. Mr. Harrison, I need you to understand the scope of what you've inherited. Your great-uncle's estate includes the entire Lake Morrison property, all 3,000 acres of it. I nearly dropped my coffee. I'm sorry, did you say 3,000 acres? Yes, sir. The lake, the surrounding forest land, and all water rights. Your great-uncle was quite the recluse, but he was also quite wealthy. He purchased the property back in 1962. 3 weeks later, I stood on the overgrown dirt road that led to what was apparently my lake. The Montana wilderness stretched endlessly before me, pine trees reaching toward a crystalline blue sky. I'd never even met great-uncle Vincent. He was a family hermit, the man who disappeared into the mountains 50 years ago and never looked back. The lake appeared through the trees like a sapphire jewel, its surface glittering in the afternoon sun. My breath caught. It was absolutely massive, pristine, beautiful, and apparently mine. That's when I noticed the boats. Dozens of them. Speedboats, pontoons, jet skis, all clustered near the southern shore. I frowned, pulling out the property survey the lawyer had given me. According to the map, that entire shoreline was part of my land. I followed the shore road and discovered something that made my blood run cold. A sprawling community of luxury homes, each with private docks extending into my lake. Between the houses ran manicured streets with a large sign that read, Lakeside Estates, a premier gated community. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Nobody had mentioned any of this. The Lakeside Estates HOA office was a sleek building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. Inside, a woman with severely pulled-back hair and a blazer that probably cost more than my car looked up from her desk. Can I help you? Her tone suggested she'd rather not. Yes, I'm Marcus Harrison. I just inherited Lake Morrison, and I'd like to know why there are dozens of homes on my property. Her expression shifted from dismissive to carefully neutral. Ah, you must be Vincent's nephew. I'm Patricia Caldwell, HOA president. She didn't offer her hand. I think there's been some confusion. While your great-uncle did technically own the lake itself, these homes have been here since 1985. We have an arrangement. What kind of arrangement? Patricia's smile was thin and cold. Your great-uncle was a hermit who lived in a cabin on the North Shore. We paid him $500 annually for lake access. I'm sure we can continue that arrangement with you. I stared at her. $500? For 3,000 acres of pristine lake. It was what Vincent agreed to. And the homeowners? How much do they pay in HOA fees? Patricia's jaw tightened. That's proprietary information. I pulled out my phone and did a quick search. 5 minutes later, I found a real estate listing for Lakeside Estates. It says here HOA fees are $8,000 annually per home. And there are, I counted quickly, roughly 60 homes. That's nearly $500,000 a year. Patricia's face went pale, then flush red. The fees cover maintenance, security, landscaping, and lake access to a lake you don't own. Lake access you've been charging premium prices for while paying my great-uncle beer money. I leaned forward. I think we need to renegotiate. Her eyes turned to ice. Mr. Harrison, these homeowners have invested millions in their properties based on lake access. You can't just... Can I? I own the lake. I own the water rights. I own the shoreline. Check your property deeds. I already did. Every single house ends at least 50 feet from the water line. Those docks, they're on my property. Patricia stood abruptly. I'll have our lawyers contact you. Don't do anything rash. But I was already walking out. The next morning, I hired a property attorney. A good one. She reviewed everything and delivered the news I'd expected. You're completely within your rights. Your great-uncle was either too trusting or too lonely to understand what he'd agreed to. The HOA has been operating what amounts to a private marina and beach club on your property, charging their members premium fees and compensating you almost nothing. I spent the next week at the county records office, documenting everything. The HOA had been established in 1985 with 40 homes. By 1995, they'd expanded to 60. Property values in lakeside estates averaged $1.2 million. The HOA's own financial records, which were public, showed they collected over $8 million in fees over the past 20 years. My great-uncle had received $10,000 total in that same time period. I had the survey team place markers every 100 feet along the waterline, each one clearly stating, "Private property, Lake Morrison, no trespassing." My phone exploded with calls. I ignored them all except one, from Patricia. "You can't do this," she shrieked. "We have rights. Prescriptive easement. Adverse possession." "Actually," I replied calmly, "you don't. My attorney checked. Your own records show you paid my great-uncle annually for lake access, which means you acknowledge his ownership. That defeats any adverse possession claim. And prescriptive easement requires hostile use. Again, you were paying him. So it wasn't hostile. You have no legal standing." Silence. "Then, what do you want?" "Fair market value." My attorney estimates that exclusive lake access for 60 luxury homes should run about $15,000 per home annually. That's $900,000 per year. That's insane. That's business. You've been running a business on my property. Now you'll pay for it, or I'll revoke access entirely and sue for 3 decades of back compensation. The homeowners will never agree to that. Then I guess you have a problem. I hung up. 3 days later, Patricia called back. Her voice was defeated. "The board has agreed to your terms, but we need time to adjust the budget. We're proposing." No proposals. Full payment by the end of the month, or every dock gets removed. Another week passed. I hired a surveying crew to document every structure extending onto my property. The list was extensive. 60 docks, 3 boathouses, 2 private beaches with imported sand, a floating swim platform, and a waterfront pavilion. On day 28, Patricia appeared at my great-uncle's cabin, now my cabin, with a cashier's check for $900,000. Her hand shook as she handed it over. "You're destroying this community." "No," I said quietly. "Your board destroyed it when you decided to exploit an old man's loneliness for profit. He probably just wanted someone to talk to. You gave him pocket change and made millions." Tears actually welled in her eyes. "Some of these families will have to sell. They can't afford the new fees. Then maybe they shouldn't have bought property whose main value was based on stolen access to someone else's land." I took the check. The new contract is annual, reviewed each year. I'm also requiring environmental compliance. No more dumping. No more jet skis near the loon nesting area. No more speedboats after 8 p.m. This is my lake now, and we're going to respect it. Patricia left without another word. I walked down to the shore and sat on the old wooden dock my great-uncle had built. The sunset painted the water in shades of gold and crimson. For the first time, I understood why he'd come here, why he'd stayed.